Hello, Nystrom. And I'm really excited about coming back on October 27th to talk about my seminar, which are Keys to Successful Management and Treatment of Borderline Narcissistic and Antisocial Personality Disorders. I wanted to make a video just to highlight some of the topics that we're talking about, but we're going to talk about so many more exciting and new approaches and techniques to manage this very challenging group of clients that all of us have. So some of the things that we're going to talk about are we're going to talk about the 4 phases of successful treatment. And in talking about this, we're going to talk about those clients that we can only see for a short term, whether it's to monetary reasons or a wide variety of other concerns that may be coming up. Because those clients we tend to interact with and process differently than those that we can see for a long term. So we're going to talk about those 4 phases of successful treatment and how to tailor our approach to those folks. And then we're going to talk about the affective and impulsive continuum. And we're going to look at all 3 of these different personality disorders and where they fall and how they relate to this affective and impulsive continuum. And then we're going to talk about the borderline narcissistic couple, or the War of the Roses, as I like to call it. And this is a very challenging couple. So we'll certainly talk about that, and we'll process that and talk about specific approaches for this particular group. In addition, of course, we'll talk about profiles within the therapeutic relationship when you're working with individuals along the antisocial personality disorder spectrum. And we'll also talk about those individuals with narcissistic personality disorder and their partners, because we know that a lot of times we're more likely to see the partners as opposed to the individual who falls along that narcissistic spectrum. But in this seminar, we will, of course, talk about both the individual that falls along the narcissistic spectrum as well as their partner. And we'll also talk about how to address and change some of those maladaptive patterns that we see certainly in your clients that fall along the borderline and narcissistic spectrum. And directly addressing a lot of those issues and concerns that they tend to have that can slow treatment and cause more problems with the process of treatment as well. And then we're going to also talk about the 4 subtypes, the borderline personality disorder subtypes, and these different individuals and different characteristics. And we'll talk about and work through about the different treatment approaches and ways to manage these subtypes. And then, of course, we'll be sure to talk about working to overcome the internal love-hate relationship. And we see this a lot with our clients that fall along that borderline spectrum. And there is an approach that we can use so that it is not as disruptive and we don't have as much session avoidance, topic avoidance, and we have a better sense of control over the session and where we're going with it. And then lastly, a lot of times we just think that, well, if we've dealt with these issues, then our clients know where to go and what to do when they go forward. But what we're going to talk about are specific things that you can do to perpetuate that success that you've had, to extend your treatment gain. So we're going to address that as well. Thank you for taking your time to listen to this really short presentation about the upcoming seminar. And I hope that you'll take your time to come out and attend. Now, what I'd like to do is go over a mindfulness technique using a fidget spinner. And these are everywhere. They're really easy to find. You can find them at gas stations. You can get them online, just about anywhere. And this one in particular, when you hit it, there's like a little buzzing sound. I'll hold it near the microphone so maybe you can hear it. All right? And what you would do is you would give this to your client, and you would have them just observe, describe, and participate. So what you would do first to observe it is that when you spin it, you would observe it that you could hear the sound, right, of it spinning. And I can feel the vibrations in my fingers. And also the harder I spin it, of course, the faster it turns. But then I feel that vibration even more, and I can hear that sound. I can even feel a little air being pushed on my other fingers. I'm just observing, right, what's going on with the fidget spinner and my fingers. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe it. I'm just going to provide the words of my experience. I'm just going to acknowledge what's going on and participate in the moment. I'm going to participate by just allowing, if other things pop in my head, I'm just going to let them flow out. And like rain off a duck's back, right? My grandmother used to say, like being a duck in the rain, that we just let things roll off our back. So what we're going to do is we're just going to spin the fidget spinner, observe as we just focus on the fidget spinner spinning in our fingers. We feel some of the air. We hear that noise that it makes with the ball bearings spinning. And then we just describe it. I feel it spinning. I feel that light vibration on my fingers. I feel it start to slow down if I don't spin it again. And I just participate in the moment, just being part of the experience. And this is a great technique for clients that have low frustration tolerance. A lot of my clients that are along the borderline spectrum or that are inclined for narcissistic rage, I like to do different mindfulness techniques. This is a good one. They can do it while they're standing in line at the grocery store or perhaps while doing a video. You can do it anywhere, and it doesn't bring anyone's attention to you or anything like that. I like to tell them that because you're just fidget spinning, and all you're doing is observe, describing, and participate. You can do it if you're lying at the grocery store, if you're waiting to pick up your kids, if you're waiting for your significant other to call and you're trying to hold back on calling yourself, learning some patience, some tolerance, and other types of activities. Well, I hope that you have found this useful, and I look forward to seeing you at one of my seminars. Thanks, and have a good day. Bye-bye.